I gotta use that midpoint formula, okay? Remember, midpoint, I should have left it up there, x is equal to x of 1 plus x of 2 over 2, okay? I know that. Well, I know what the midpoint is. What's the midpoint x on this? Negative 6. Okay, so negative 6 is equal to, and I know one of the x's, negative 4. I don't know the other one. If I have one unknown in a problem, can I solve for it? So, how do I get rid of that 2 on the bottom? Multiply by 2 on both sides. All right. So I get negative 12 is equal to negative 4 plus x. How do I solve for x? Move the 4 over, okay? And you look at me like I'm crazy, but do you remember one time in your life you had a hard time with that? Okay, but you don't anymore. Okay, so I know that the x on this is going to be negative 8. How am I going to find the y? Same way. Okay, all I have to do, I'm going to cheat here. Okay, go with me. Okay, what's my midpoint y value? 3. Okay, so 3 is equal to, I know one of my y's, it's 2. So 2 plus y over 2. Again, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So I have 6 is equal to 2 plus y. I'm going to subtract the 2. So I have y is equal to 4. That's the value of n. Okay? It's really not complicated, but you have to be able to apply it. Okay? We good on that? All right. I'm going to give you one to find the midpoint of. Okay? We haven't done one where you have to do it. So I'm going to have you do this, and then we're going to go on to parabolas. Okay? Find the midpoint of this one. And you can leave it as a fraction. At least I would. Feel nice and warm and toasty. Get it? Don't make it too complicated.
Trying to remember the equation.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to do NP, not ND, NP. So midpoint x is x of 1 plus x of 2 over 2. Now remember, it's finding the average. That's really all it is. Midpoint y is y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. So all you're doing, okay, is that.
Right.
And you're just going to leave it like that. Okay, that's all you got to do. Then on the other one, I have 9 plus negative 4.5 over 2. So basically, technically, I have 4.5 over 2. I'm really not allowed to have a decimal there. So I can multiply through to get rid of the decimal, which gives me 45 over 20. I could reduce that down by dividing the top and the bottom by 5, which is going to give me 9/4 Guys, if you put that in your calculator and then you go back and change it to a fraction, it'll give you the 9/4. Okay, you don't have to make it as complicated as what it seems. Okay? All right, so that stuff's pretty easy, not a big deal. This stuff that we're about to go into is not as easy. Okay, now I am going to give you a cheat sheet, and I have made my cheat sheet over here. First I did it up here, it took up too much room. I wouldn't have been able to write on the board. So you're going to get something that looks just like that, so that when we're doing these problems, you can go down this cheat sheet and figure out how to do the problem. So basically what's going to happen, and you'll notice where, I wish I had a board to hang on, but I don't. Okay, we are familiar with this, okay? That's what we've done before. This thing over here on the left-hand side, those are the parabolas that open up and down, okay? Over here on the right-hand side are the parabolas that open right and left. Don't know why, but for some reason, the left column will seem so much easier to you than the right column, and I think it's just because you've already been exposed to it, okay? Notice a few things that changes though, okay? We're familiar with this. We know that the axis of symmetry was always x equals h. Remember your x value? Because it's a vertical line, so I know it's going to be x, okay? Vertex, hk. We were familiar with that. We did that in the last chapter as well. The focus is something different. The directrix is something different. The direction, we know that. Okay, remember the idea that if it's positive, you smile and it opens up. And if it's negative, you frown and it opens down. And then this is a new term as well. Well, and we'll go over that in a minute. But if you look over here on the right-hand side, notice that it's not y equals, it's x equals. But the other thing I want you to notice is the h and the k switch places. Okay? But the h is still my x and the k is still my y. But keep that in your mind because that will mess you up. Okay? I think maybe I can. Hold on. Let's see what we can do here. You would think this church would have an easel on it, would you not? But no, I didn't find one. Okay, let's put it over here. Like I said, you have it right there in front of you. Look at it here. Okay, that'll work. All right, let's say I have this particular equation. We're going to work through one and get all our values, okay? I kind of want to do one that has my, okay, let's do this one. All right, I know this is going to be my left-hand side. The reason why I know that is because my variable that isn't squared is a y. That's how I know that, okay? Now, I won't lie to you, at the end of this chapter, they're just going to give you an equation, and they're going to go, where does it go? Okay, they're not, right now we're just doing parabolas, but you're going to have to remember the difference between all these, okay? So right now, I need to get it in this form. That's the very first thing that I have to do. Okay, to get it in that form, and that's one reason why I went over the test with you, you have to complete the square. Okay, but I have to complete it, I'm going to complete it on just that one side, because I've got the y equals. Now it's not imperative that you only complete it on the one side, you could complete it on the other and then move it over, okay, but we know that we don't have to do it that way. Okay, what am I going to have to do first? Am I allowed to have that 2 there?
No.
No, the 2's got to come out of it. So I'm going to put the 14 back here, but I'm going to factor the 2 out of this first part. Okay, I've got a blank here, and I've got a blank there, remember? All right, what's half of the 6?
3.
What's 3 squared?
9.
9. Now, technically I haven't just added a 9, I've added an 18. So what do I have to put down there to counter the 18? Negative 18. Vivian, you with me? Yeah. Okay, now I've got to factor this. Y is equal to 2 times, parentheses, x plus 3 squared plus negative 4, right? Okay, now, understand, I'm right here. I can figure out everything that's on that thing by going down. So what is my A value? 2. What's my X value? It's actually negative 3. It's the opposite of what you had here. Remember, if it's in the parentheses, it's the opposite. So negative 3, and what is my Y value? And actually, let's not do let's call these H and K, okay? Which the H is the same thing as the X, but because I have H and K over here, we're gonna go with that. Okay, so the K is what? Negative 4. Okay, guys, I got everything I need. Okay, absolutely. Now, all I have to do is follow this thing all the way down. Okay, so I'm looking, I'm going, okay, equation, I've got, it's right here. Okay, so if they're asking me for this list of things all the way down, I can do this now. Okay, axis of symmetry. I'm just going to put symmetry right here. Okay, what is that?
Negative 3.
Okay, so I have x equals negative 3, and you got to put the x there. Okay, it's very important because if I was over here, remember it would be y. Okay, so I have that. What's my vertex? Negative 3, negative 4. Okay, negative 3, negative 4. So far, so good. I'm all the way down to here. Okay, but I don't even know what the focus is. So let's graph and talk about what the focus is. Okay, that might help you remember it. I'm going to go ahead and re-copy this up here so I can do the rest of the board. Truthfully, once you learn this, it's so easy to graph parabolas. You don't have to worry about where they cross. You don't have to worry about, plugging in points. Okay, so I have an axis of symmetry at negative 3. And I'm going to make my axis of symmetry a dotted line. Okay, so that's x equals negative 3. My vertex is negative 3. Actually, negative 3 here. Positive 4, right? Isn't that the point, negative 3, negative 4? Or positive 4?
I think we forgot the
Oh, I did that now. I did. No wonder. Because I was down here. I just didn't finish it. That'll make it easier. Okay, so there's my vertex, negative 3, negative 4. Now I can skip on down here to the direction. How does it open, up or down? It opens up because my A is positive. Okay, so I know this is going to go like this. But I don't really have to guess. There's a way for me to do this that is so easy. Okay, so my focus is actually, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it's going to be something like that. Okay, but we don't know for sure yet. Okay, so that's not written in stone. My focus is a point inside my curve that's going to allow me to graph my curve. The directrix, which is right underneath the focus, is a line on the outside that is the same distance from my vertex as what my focus is. Truthfully, the directrix does nothing for you. Okay, it really does not affect anything, except for you would have to fill it in if I asked you to fill it in. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some values for those. Okay, down here on my focus, what's the x value of it?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. Okay, I'm just filling in. Okay, and then my y value is k, which is negative 4 plus 1 over 4 times a. So 1 over 8, right? You with me? I've just plugged in points. So this is the point, negative 3. And then if I add that, that's going to give me a negative 3 and 7/8, right? Okay, so basically, I'm talking right there. Okay, it's really close to it. All right, so then I've got my directrix, which I'm going to turn around. It's going to be y equals, notice over here it's x equals. Okay, so that's why this is important. And it's the k value, which is negative 4, minus 1 over what was 4 times a? 8. So this is y is equal to negative 4 and 1/8. So this is basically just 1/8 past that vertex. Okay, you with me so far? Okay, so far so good. Direction, we know that it opens up. And this last thing, the length of the lattice rectum, is what helps us graph it. Okay, that obviously is Greek, a Greek term. Okay, and that's the absolute value of 1 over a. What's a? 2. That's 1/2. Now, the lattice rectum is the length across here through the focus. Okay, now I know that this is off. Okay, and if the whole length from one side to the other is 1/2, what's the length on one side? What's half of 1/2? 1/4. So I am only going over 1/4 on the right and 1/4 on the left of the focus. There's my 3 points. And I've drawn it. Okay, now it's weird, it's different. Okay, you're gonna give me back the last chapter, but really, if you've got this, and you could just figure out what A is, what H is, and what K is, all you gotta do is fill it in. Okay, that's really literally all you have to do. All right, let's do another one. Okay, I'm gonna leave the words up there. Now, you can see that at the heart of the problem, if you can't complete the square, you are in a load of hurt. Okay, because you can't do any of that if you can't complete the square. All right, so I'm going to put one out there. We're going to gradually work through it. The very first thing I want you to do is get it in the right form. Okay, so this is your first problem. And I'm just going to have you work on it for a minute, and if you struggle with it, obviously we're going to do it together. But looking at this problem, do you think it's on the left-hand side or the right-hand side?
You're right.
It's on the right-hand side because the y is squared. Remember, I'm looking for the variable that is not squared. The variable that's not squared is my x. Yes, there's a y that's not squared too, but that's going to help me complete the square. Okay? But because the y is squared, then I know I am over here on the right-hand side. So the very first thing I want you to do is to try and get this in the right form. And then we'll go from there. Don't do anything else, but I mean, unless you really want to. If you want to go forward with it and try it, that's fine. But if you've got this in the wrong form, if your equation is wrong, you cannot do the rest of the problem.